Yeah, my screen is visible now.
Yeah,
Okay, all
yes, sir.
right. Okay, so today, so basically we are left with the one topic, that is the role concept. Means to say, like, how we need to create a role and assign the members to the role, that particular role, and role will be uh, like authorized for some pages. Let's say, like, okay, let me open that. It's like author sample. Yes, this one. Okay, so this is we are like discussing. So we basically need to create a roles now, and then we need to provide the access to the folders based on roles. So like we have this admin folder and the user folder. So admin folders has some pages and user folders has few pages. So based on the roles, so user will able to access these pages. So let's say we have two roles, admin role and user roles. So here you can see we do not define any user here. Like in the previous example, we create the credentials, the tag, and define the user. So this is when we need to use uh, this part when we have a limited number of user in for application. Let's say the application is for like internal use, or uh, 20 50 only users are there to access the application, then we can use this approach. But in case we have huge number of user, or maybe 150 60 90 like this, so creating user in config file is not the best practice. So the approach is we can create the user in database, and then we can access the users from there, or even validate from the database. So here you can see we just defining the path for admin folder, and again, and the next we are just providing the authorization. Admin folder can be only be accessible by admin role, and under admin role maybe 5 10 users are there. And the same for the user folder. User folder is only accessible by the user role. Maybe a user role has 50 users. So 50% can access users folder content, or admin is maybe one or two admin or five admins. Only the 5% can access the admin folder. Okay, and here you can see I have this the connection string. We already discussed about this. This is basically telling which database server we are like connecting, what is the username, password, or what is the database name. So in our case, like the demo is a database name and the data source is Pawan PC. Okay, and we are connecting to this system. So first we need to log in. So here you can see we have a login page. So here we have a button. So the format is simple. We have a username and password, and we have a button. When we click on this button, we basically sending a query to database. So this is a query. So we are basically uh, so in the last example, this part is in separate file, but here we I just did in everything in one event. So first we are taking the SQL connection. We are then fetching the configuration detail from the Web.config file. Then finally we open the connection. Once the connection is open, we are like we need to send a query. So for that we are using SQL command. Okay, and this is the actual query we are sending. Select star from TB users where username is underscore u and password is u pass. At the parameter is @p. And here we are like passing the parameter details. So u will be the text box 1 and the @p will be text box 2. So text box 1 is username and p is text box 2, that is the password. Okay, and we are saying execute reader. So so this command will execute this query and we will receive some data. Okay, and data will be stored inside dr, that is a data reader object, data reader object of data reader class. So if dr has some rows, means to say this query returns some value, has row, then we read the data. Okay, if the query is true, then we read the data. Then we are again using that the authentication, authorization. Oh, no, sorry, here we are creating a authorized ticket, form authentication ticket. So this is a class. So this class will be takes will like contain some information. That information is like the first is a username and the created date time, we can say. Okay, let me show you from description. So basically what we are doing, let me explain. We create login page and this is the database. We are sending user ID and password, and this is the login button. When we provide user ID or password and click on login button, so system will send uh, a query to this database and database will return some value or data. So if we have some data, means maybe a one row, two row, or definitely it will return a one single row, because we are like sending user ID and password, and user ID is a unique key, a unique value. So it will return a single row. So now we are doing, if the data is there, we receive some data from against query, then we will create a ticket. So ticket is this form authentication ticket. So this form authentication ticket is contains some values. Okay, it will not visible here. Okay, no problem. So basically we are like sending some data. That is one is basically we can say authentication information, true or false. Okay, it's true. And the second data is we are sending the username and saving a username in this ticket, and this is a created time. Okay, and dt2 dot yeah dt dr2 is when we are saying dr dot read. So this dr basically reading a row, right? It's like when we are saying when we send a query, it's return me a row, one row, right? One row is like this. So it will contain some values like maybe a user password or state, means active or non-active. So two means second column. We are reading a second column. So maybe a user ID or a password. It will be a password only. Okay. And then we convert this entire ticket into a cookie. Okay. So we are creating a authentication ticket. So that authentication ticket contains some data. Data is this first is true, username, password, date and time. Okay. And we treated this ticket as a cookie. And this cookie will be downloaded on client system. It will be downloaded on client system, on client. Okay. So whenever the user revisit the I mean the same website, so this cookie will be reattached with this request, and user system will able to know, okay, the user is already authenticated from a database. So second time it will not authenticate, and it will directly uh, you know I mean directly provide the access to the data. So here we are like created the authentication ticket. So this ticket contains some data. Okay. And then the next we encrypt that information, means these all data, the ticket contain these all data, we encrypt it like this. So means to say no one can like open this cookie, and if someone open the cookie, then it will not directly, data is not directly accessible, means this ticket contain username and password as well. So everything is in an encrypted format. So this line basically encrypt the ticket information. So then finally we have like a string. We convert that ticket encrypt. First we encrypt it and then convert into a string st. Then finally we uh, set this st as a data for the cookie. So here we are like creating a cookie, and then we are adding this cookie in the response.cookie.add ck, that is a cookie. And finally we when we redirect to the default ASPX page, system will download this cookie in response on the client system. Okay. And the next time, let's say we are on default page now. So this is the default page. So here we are like saying, okay, okay, one thing is Yes. So here we basically checking the response on the page load. We are just checking the context.current.user, which user basically which user basically accessing this default page. And if that user is belongs to the admin page, then system will redirect to the admin folder. Okay, response or redirect admin folder. So then system can access these folders. If the user who is accessing the default page belongs to the non-admin, that means it's a normal user. So then system will redirect to the user folder content. Okay, so under this we have again default and default. Admin has default page and user has a default page. So system basically redirect. Let's say the user belongs to the admin role. So system will redirect to the admin default page. If it is belongs to the user, the system will redirect to the user's default page. So these page are nothing. It's just a simple page, default page. There is no content available. So the main concept is redirection. How we can like redirect to these pages. Okay, so this is the main thing where we basically setting the authorization. So this time authorization is based on roles. We are allowing the user, allowing the role to access this admin folder. So at this point in login page, we basically send executing this query, and we fetching the data, and the data we save inside the cookie, and cookie get download on the client system. Next time when system client revisit the same website, maybe client do not need to re-enter username or passwords. Client system will read the information from cookies only, username and password. So this the cookie will be available for particular date and time. This is basically we can say expiry time for the cookie, expiry date time, expiry date time. Let's say we set the expiry time to 24 hours. Okay, today is 6 March. We download this cookie on a client system. Client revisit on, let's say, 10th of March. So this cookie is already expired because the cookie life duration is 24 hours only. So system, our local system will not uh, attach the cookie in second visit, or when we revisit to the website, system will not reattach this cookie in request because the cookie is already expired. So system only attach the cookie in request who is active. So active means to say which is like the expiry time is, let's say, to 24 hours, and we revisit to the website before 24 hours. So then this cookie will be attached in the request. Okay. And the default page, on the page load event, we are basically checking the user role. The user role, user belongs to which role. If it is admin, then we redirect to admin page. If it is not admin, we will redirect to the user default page. Okay, any doubt till here? Hello.
Yeah, fine.
Okay. So I'm not able to execute this code on this system. I'm still not able to install SQL. I'm facing some issue uh, in installation on this system. So I explained the code, but I'll show you the execution maybe tomorrow of this code. Okay, because I need to connect with the database, so I do not have any database on this laptop. Okay, so we can move to the next topic. So the execution is pending. I'll try to execute this code by tomorrow only. Okay. Okay. The next topic is, so the topics we have like till today we discussed, that is related to the ASP.NET. So today I will explain you the structure of MVC. Any idea about MVC?
Control.
Hello.
Yeah, model view controller.
Yeah, model, view, and controller. Okay. Yeah. So basically MVC is like M is model, V is view, and C is controller. Okay. So we can say, let's do it like this. This is controller. This is view. This is model. Okay. So model, basically we can say model represent the data. Okay. View represent UI. Controller is basically handles a request. Let's say this is the user or a client. So client cannot directly access the model or cannot directly access the view. So client send a request to the controller. Okay. So then controller calls the model, and model return the data to the controller. Then controller populate the data on view. And finally view is returned to the client. So this is, we can say, this is how the MVC is working. We are sending request to the controller. Controller first identify the whatever the request the client is making. So that request required any data. If yes, then it will send a request to the model, fetch the data, and populate the data in view, and then finally view will be returned to the client. So client will see the presentation like we can say a grade or something like this. So this is the finally the thing the client is receiving, that is a combination of all of the data and view. So controller controls everything. Okay. So even we have we can say we in between this we can make layers as well. That is, we can say, is a service layer. Service layer. So service layer is like we can put uh, DB related logic inside this service layer. So the purpose of controller is supposed to be very clear. Uh, Controller will receive the request and send the response. So business logic we will move to the service layer here. So let's say we send a request, controller call the service will prepare the model, and model return to the controller. Then finally controller populate the data on a view. Then finally client will see the data. Okay. Okay, let me create a simple MVC sample. Okay, I missed one thing. Let me. So when you are creating a project, I'm taking ASP.NET MVC dot. This is your name or something. Yeah. So I'm taking the empty. Here you need to select the folders, or we can say add a folder. So just select this one, MVC. Okay. When you click on this MVC, system will. Uh, yeah. So system will like create some folder structure. So this is totally different from ASP.NET. So in ASP.NET, we just have this web.config file. Here we have web.config file. Okay. So these are the web.config file configurations, the default configurations. Okay. Here we have the global.ax files as well. So here you can see this is the this global file basically represent when the application start. So whatever the dependency you want to register or service you want to register, we can register at the application start. So like we can see that the right route config dot register dot routes. So this is we are basically registering the route config files here. Okay, so the main folders is one is the controller. If you want to create a controller, that's supposed to be inside the controller folder. So model goes inside the models and view goes inside the views. Okay, let me create a controller. Add controller, saying home controller. So this is the controller, and this is basically a class. So class will act as a controller when we inherit the controller class. Okay, and this we have this is we call the action. So this is the default action, that is the index, and this index will return me a view. Okay, this is the action result. So action result means to say the return type. So action result can return multiple type of response. So one is view. We can return view. We can return JSON data. We can return a string data. We can return a file, or so like multiple type of type of means to say data we can return using the action result. Yeah. In description, no, it is not mentioned here. But let's say if you want to return JSON, then you can also return a JSON instead of view. Okay. So, okay, controller is study. There is a default action that is index, and this index will return a view. So next we will create a view. So just right click on this action, say add view. So MVC 5. Yeah. So I'm going to create a view empty template without model. So we will create a two type of views, with model and without model. So this is the without model, and we have like type of views as well. One is a normal view, second one is a partial view. So partial view means to say it will get combined with another view or the main view, then it will give the final output to the user. So this time we will like create a normal view. It is a normal view without model. Yeah. So this is the view. So let me open this toolbox. No, it's not CSA. Okay, yeah. So these these tools are basically belongs to server side controls. Okay, like we have like already discussed. Let's say add this button. See, so this button is basically saying it's ASP button, run at server. We can do this as well, but ASP is not MVC is not designed for this ASP controls. We can add this button. Let me execute this. We can see the the output. Application name is coming from where? Okay, it's created the shared view as well. Layout. Hmm. Okay. Okay, I'm removing this shared one. Let's create this view again. Add view index. Okay. Just unselect this checkbox because this is the layout. Layout page is like a master page in ASP.NET. So right now we are not creating a master page. Yeah. So this is the index dot cs view. So here you can see we have like the HTML code. Okay, so this is the index. Now I'm saying this is the index page or home page. Okay. Okay, and I am like adding this ASP.NET control here as well. Let execute run it. Mhm. Okay, I have just yeah. So this is the simple message, the HTML message. This is the home page, right? But we have added this ASP.NET button as well. So basically, these controls are like server-side control, and MVC is designed, or I mean, we can say the ASP pages are heavy pages, and MVC view is more lighter than ASP.NET pages. So we basically they replace this ASP.NET controls with the HTML controls. So if you are like dealing with the views dot CSS pages, then you do not need to use this server side controls. You need to design your own HTML controls. Let's say like uh, if you want a button, then you need to create HTML code here. Say submit. See, so this is submit button is basically HTML control. Okay. So in CSS view, you need to design your presentation using HTML code only. So the next concept is if we are like designing a button, so how we will like handle this, when we click on this, how we will like submit the form and all. We'll discuss in next class how we can do that. Okay, so the basic idea is, so MVC is more lighter than ASP.NET pages. We will not going to use any standard controls. That is uh, like heavy weighted controls. So we avoid that. If you want to design your any kind of let's say you want to design a grid view. So a grid, but don't want to use this standard controls or ASP.NET controls. So using HTML tags, we will design this grid view. Okay. So I'll explain you how we can like achieve that as well. Okay. So this view is without model. Now let's create one model. The model is nothing. It's a class. Let's say employee EMP model. model TL. So here I'm just creating uh, two properties, ID and name. Okay. So inside, let's create a new view, action result. Let's say EMP. So we will call this, let's say return view. So we will call this model EMP model, and we will assign EMP model dot ID equals, let's say 100, and EMP model dot name equals to John. Okay. Now I want to pass this information to view, means when user hit this EMP, we will return a view, and view will display this information. So we simply just pass this model to view. That's it. Now let's create a view, add view, MVC5, add. So this time we will say empty, and we will have this model class. So we will select this EMP model. Say add. So here you can see the difference. This is the without model. This is with model. So difference is this line. On the very top, we are saying @model MVC model.emp model. Basically, this we are writing this thing. So this model is creating will have the access of EMP model. So we just need to write, let's say ID in brackets. We'll say model.id. Via tag name @model.name. Okay, let's execute it. So by default, every time when we execute the MVC product, it will run the index. That is the default route. So you can see, so the output is, this is my home page. If I like say /index or home, it will still say this is my home page. Okay. And if I said, what is the name? EMP EMP. Uh, oh, sorry. We'll say home/EMP. So here you can see ID is 100 and name is John. Okay. Okay, let's understand this thing. When we are saying this localhost for 44320, that is the server detail, and home is the controller name, and EMP is the its action. Okay, so we are saying we are hitting this home controller, then we are calling EMP action. If we want to run index, then we'll say home/index. If we have more actions, so after home we need to provide / then action name. So it will hit the data, the action. So let's remove this curly brackets. Save, save 5. So data is ID is 100 and name is John. So in second part, basically we send the request to the controller. Controller populate the data, fetch the data, and controller pass the model to the view, and finally we see the combination of UI and data uh, on the browser or as a response. Okay, so this is the high level how we can like deal with the model view and controller. Okay, so there are some
Mm.
more important things how we can perform the validation, right? Annotations. So I'll try to cover in next session.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'll try to like try to make a small application, and like, I have one application. I'll try to explain that everything from there only. Even that project is like having a nice structure. We have different layers like a service layer or models layer, validation, how we can perform that. I'll show you that tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe we need two classes to understand all the the stuff of that project, how we can uh, perform that. Yeah, we'll discuss tomorrow. Okay, okay, thank you.
Thank you.